Digby. I feel like this is deja vu. We've seen this before. Digby to Ozils. Ozils back to Digby. Digby back to, guess who? Ozils. Ozils takes it down below to Guerra. Guerra over to Guerra. Intercepting the pass in the neutral zone. Dugan's is sitting on the near side boards, working it, trying to work that puck. It's under Odessa's body. Over to Ozils. Ozils to Digby. I feel like this is deja vu. What? Stop! What? Digby back to, guess who? Ozils.
Mark.
Ready, Sam? 3, 2,
1. Gloves off, episode number 15, season 1 finale. Sam and I just decided that it is the finale of season 1, and we're going to be joined by the legendary voice of the Brahmas, Mr. Dustin Copening. Hello, Dustin. How's your watermelon Red Bull?
This thing is crack. Like, I really think they've gone back the old Coca-Cola way, and they've just put crack in this in the peach. I'm addicted.
It is very possible. I have no addiction problems with Red Bull myself.
Hey, sponsorship.
Well, actually, good segue, because this show is brought to you, as all of season 1 and season 2 are brought to you by Farmers Insurance, where, as Dustin and I can tell you, they have insurance for bears. Today's show is also brought to you by Medical City, who has robots. Does your hospital have robots? Because if it doesn't, you're in the wrong hospital. I guarantee you Tiger Woods is in a hospital with robots right now. And of course, good records to go. That's all I got. We still got Sam. Sam, you with us?
Yes, I'm right here, and I love me some good records, man. They are the best.
I like gloves too. For those of you watching at home, Red Bull. It makes you crazy.
We saved that for the game call, Chad.
Absolutely. Road games are a big player there. Well, Dustin, for those of you who don't know, Dustin is the voice on HockeyTV, and Sam and I were talking about this just the other day. Most fans probably, you had a hockey card, so they know who you are.
Yeah.
But not a lot. Do people stop and talk to you in between periods?
Every once in a while, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that makes what I do worth it, is getting that interaction, positive and negative, to the Rainsford family. I apologize for throwing a little bad mojo on the call. As we went down 2-1 to New Mexico, things were feeling grim, and I threw it out there. And if I had any way, shape, or form interacted the outcome of that game, I sincerely apologize to Brahma Land. But I think the real cool thing is the feedback we get, not just, for people that enjoy the way I play again, what I do, but for the production team with Patrick, Jacob, Christina, Mr. Simon Bench, Mr. the Professor Paul Beals. That entire crew busts their ass on when they show up to do that, and it really shows. I think in the feedback that we get, and you see the not to disparage any other operation out there, because everyone got their situation right, but you go and look at those top 5 plays and everything, like our broadcast is solid, and it's one of the reasons that I enjoy what I do.
Yeah. Oftentimes other teams' top 5 plays they submit to the league are from our broadcast. You see our rink on there more than anybody else. And it is a testament to what those guys and girls do. So Dustin, let's go back in time. Also, we should mention thoughts and prayers to a speedy recovery for our very own Sydney Johnson. She just had a little surgical procedure back home. And Tori Trezera, who had a surgical procedure to repair her back, along with big fan of the show, Tiger Woods. So we're thinking about all of you guys and girls and guy. Dustin, how did you become the Brahma broadcast? Did you? I mean, it's been a while. How many years are we talking?
Oh,
5?
is this 5 or 6 with the organization, right? So I am one of those folks who chased a dream after running out of money and leaving college, went into the real world for about 10 years and decided after another stint with the company went belly up, if I'm starting over again, I'm going to go and I'm going to try and do it in broadcasting. So went back to North Texas, get my degree. Comes time to graduate. And the stark reality of having a wife, a child, a mortgage, and not being able to commute to and from Abilene for 20 grand a year slapped me in the face. So I literally graduated on a Saturday morning, and on Monday I'm back in a cube farm, which was somewhat depressing. A couple months after that, there's an ad for a Dallas Stars job fair, and I call one of my buddies, and I'm like, dude, you mind going with me with this thing? And he goes, no, that's fine. So, anyone who's ever been to a job fair in general knows just, everyone flocks to the major companies because they think, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to get my big start. Well, I know a thing or two about, trying to do what I wanted to do, which was on camera. And the Dallas Stars, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Frisco Rough Riders, even that's not what they're looking for there. They're looking for, sales interns.
Right.
So I decided to hit all of the other organizations represented from independent baseball to, I think there was a basketball team there, and then there's this booth. Yep. And I think they were there, Chad.
It was me.
Yeah. I walk up and I'm like, hey, here's my resume. We chat for a little bit. And you're like, all right, cool. Well, looks good. We'll talk to you. And literally, I think that might've been February or so.
Yeah.
Like 3-4 months go by because, the season's going on. Y'all are knee deep in it. And I have basically reached the point where I'm like, well, podcasting is the life for me. I get an email from Nick Merrick, and he says, hey, our season just wrapped up. We want to have you come in and talk. I come in and really was blown away at just NYTEX in general, talking with y'all, and ended up working camera for most of that season at the NA level, and then set in on a few NA broadcasts and NA3 broadcasts. And then next year, Walt Ruff went on his merry way, and I did the NA3 and did that for a couple seasons. And then Nick called me up one day and said, hey, let's meet at Zoos. And I'm moving on, which we all knew was going to happen. That dude's got his freaking ceiling is so high. And here I am. This is my I think 6th year with the organization, 3rd year as the NA broadcaster at home.
Yeah. Well, I guess the first question is do you like this gig?
I love what I do.
Do you like your job?
Maybe I didn't understand the question.
Do you like being the chief of police, Dustin?
No, I call hockey games.
Okay, wrong notes for that one.
That wasn't the question.
I have, by the way, and again, like if for anyone watching who doesn't get those ticket references, the local station here, I've had a real knack for listening to some of the greatest moments in ticket history as they happen. Dale Hansen and Dan, you walking out? Yeah. Shut up. The live Lee Corso, weirdest thing I think I've ever heard on air. That was a crazy. Meltdown. To hear that roll out live is like, you literally, like, I can't even imagine, being in that chair. I would have been the Bob Sturm in that scenario. Just sort of like, guys, hey Lee. And it goes on down the list. Like, I think the only thing I haven't missed that's been like a major on-air thing as it happened was the notorious Grego walking out because he was stoned off of his ass, and that was the beginning of the Where's Grego saga. Like, that's the only thing I've missed. And
allegedly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, we love our friends over at 1310 96.7 The Ticket, as evidenced by some of the guests that we've had this season here on Gloves Off, bringing it back to hockey. And we'll have more in season 2. There's a few more ticket reps.
Well,
Sam and I and you, huge P1, so we can't get too far away from the station. Let's go back to the broadcasting.
I'm sorry.
No,
you're trying to host a show.
No, not. I don't try to.
Bringing it back to sports.
When Nick left, so he for those of you who remember, I knew he was going to leave because he was shopping his resume around, and he was very upfront with me and very clear to say, hey, we're gonna I'm gonna move on. He wanted to get close to home for his wife Amanda, but it didn't. Like that whole summer and off season went through, and it was like September before he got the job with the Portland Winterhawks.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I'm sitting in his office, and he's telling me everything, and he's like, so are you gonna look for a new broadcaster? I'm like, no, dude, we got like games in a week. it's let's just, is Dustin ready? He's like, yeah, Dustin's ready, absolutely. And it was perfect because Patrick, the aforementioned Patrick, he just slid right into the vacancy on the NA3, said, hey, I'll do that. I mean, it was awesome. There was like it was a seamless transition.
Yeah. And he does a bang up job too on those NA3 calls. He's made some of those top 5 calls. I give him hell sometimes because I checked myself at heck and went straight to hell there. That's where my mind works.
Oh, it's okay.
But no. So there's one call and I was like, dude, that was a sick goal. I'm like, you were way too calm. That's his style.
He keeps it pretty
Smooth.
Calm. Smooth. Well, so in your years broadcasting, now you talked about having a knack for seeing things on the ticket live or hearing things on the ticket live. What are some of the big moments that you've been able to call that if you were done broadcasting the Brahmas, what are some of the moments that you would think back on as like, wow?
There was one. I've seen probably some crazier stuff at the NA3 level than the NA level. There was one game at the NA3 level where the one of the Texas players flipped it from center ice, just dumping it in, and it landed behind the netminder and went back behind him across into the goal, like into the net. And like, it was one of those things where my brain did not comprehend what was happening fast enough for my mouth to catch up. And so I was watching it. I'm like, goal? That was pretty crazy. I think, NA, the line brawl against Corpus
the preseason one
year, 2 years ago. Yes. Yeah. That was just gorgeous and nuts. And I think anytime you get a chance to call a goalie fight, I actually watched that again recently. Like that's about the height of what you would hope to accomplish at this level next, because it's just next to, I would like to call a playoff series win. Hopefully we get that this year. I was fairly confident last year we are going to get that. And then just the way that game 5 against Shreveport back in 18-19 ended was just so there's an own goal in that game was weird. And then the crazy thing is, so again, people can't see this. So my wife works overnights with Southwest Airlines. So there's no one to watch my kid on a Monday night. So she comes up and she's sitting next to me in the booth. And like everyone the whole time is like, man, she's so well behaved and everything. That was a legit triple overtime game. And she had like a major math test the following morning that, was like going to determine her rest of her life in grade school. Like literally, like she would wake up in the intermissions. She lasted like through the 3 periods and just look at me. And like, I would just give her this look of just like, it's still going. Like that was just the most infuriating. And then for that to end in a loss was just like massively deflating. So I think we got a good shot this year of calling at least one playoff series victory, if not 2, or maybe even, I won't say it. I don't want to put the broadcaster jinx on it.
Well, like, we had Dan and Ryan, our 2 coaches from the NA and NA3 on last episode, and they were just kind of saying, it's about getting hot at the end. Our team has this year, it's hard to even say who we are because we've turned over so many times. I mean, think about how many new names. Even there's a Russian, 46. I don't even know his last name.
It caught me by surprise. He was skating for, I want to say, Odessa.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like, the series starts and I'm like, Konovalov. But I'm like, man, I remember that name. And I try to catch up, before I get on any interaction, any transactions and anything like that. And after the game, like I'm looking through and I'm like, son of a gun, like he was in here with Odessa a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Which I like the way I like the impact he had on the ice last weekend. I know it was an odd split with New Mexico, but I think he had a real good series. And then the other one that, again, like, I think the league, like, the coaches know, but like this kid right here.
Yeah.
Dude, like that was a sick weekend. I think the second game, I know Coach Wildfong was a little animated in that game at him a little bit. He might've tried a little too hard, but as that Purcell, Nemo, and DiCarlo, who's just absurd this season, in a weird way. And then, Baez, and as a result of that, Luke Johnson, who's come on just amazingly, sliding down now and being paired with Baez. That's a two-line combination that I don't know if there is maybe one other team in the South that can match that. And so it is about gelling, and because of the back end of the season being loaded, there's a lot of hockey left to be played, and I think this team has got a pretty high ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, generally, in a Dan Wildfong coached year, January is the month where you're not going to be able to beat the Brahmas. I think our record in January since he started coaching is, I think we've lost maybe 6 times. I mean, it's unreal. This year, I think we're a little bit delayed. It's probably going to be February because we added all the new guys. Brady Smith, Sturzer, Tritt, Konovalov. Purcell is back from his high ankle sprain. It's kind of like having a new player. There's a whole new team out there, and of course we've got Guy Blessing now, where we didn't before. So they're gonna gel. They're getting a week off this week because we have the off weekend, and I think that they'll be back a little refreshed, recharged, and ready for the home stretch. At least I think so. I could be wrong.
I'm fully confident in that as well. And, even last week, such a weird week. I don't know how much ice time the guys got, with everything that was going on, going in. But even then, like, it was just, again, we're coming from a pandemic that we'll likely never see again, that we're all dealing with. And then, a winter ice storm event in Texas that we might not see for like another 2 decades. It's just it's a weird time. So yeah, but coaches will look at that and say, those are excuses, boys.
Yeah.
Those are excuses.
That's an excuse. Well, Sam and I saw New Mexico play Odessa because they played Monday and Tuesday here in our arena because New Mexico can't host games at home yet. And that's a team that is trending upward. New Mexico. In fact, Sam, I do remember, if you recall, New Mexico's broadcaster put the whole South Division on notice.
He did. He did want us all to know that
Justin or
that
Jason.
We are on notice. Yes,
Jason Thomas. All right. Yeah,
yes.
Jason. He's been a blast. And again, it's all the broadcasters in the league. It's fun to chat with them, be able to chat beforehand. But yeah, you get a 3-game winning streak. You knock off Lone Star in their own barn, and yeah, you're going to ruffle your feathers a little bit. But again, I think it's very fortunate that broadcasters and what we say on the air has literally zero impact on what happens on the ice. Because, like there are just times that you're just, it's like I said, it's a good thing that we are about as far removed from any decisions or impact on the contest as humanly possible, other than the presentation that goes out to the, to the audience.
And it is a great presentation. We have, I'm not just a homer for my own team here, but we do have the best presentation from the graphics, the instant replays. I don't know anybody else doing instant replays outside of New Mexico. When New Mexico is at home, granted their owner is owns television stations and a TV network, so you would expect a great broadcast. But we do a great job. I think the upgrades that Sam worked on in the offseason. Sam
has some big praise in that too, as far as the work that was done in the offseason and the love and attention that it's all getting. It's been remarkable. Not to cut you off there, Chad, but
no, it's all praise for Sam. Remember Sam, we were talking about, I want to get a big flat screen and mount it on the wall right there next to Dustin, and that way we can have replays. And then you and our buddy Kaysen came up with, oh, here, just use your monitor now. We got this secret website that no one knows about during games where you can. Isn't that a game changer, Dustin?
It's very nice. However, I would not be opposed to a flat screen mounted on the wall. No, but in all seriousness, that was amazing, and that is it's really nice to see, and not be just talking and going off of something completely different. Being able to switch down and see that, and again, stuff happens so quickly, and I am still, relatively new to picking up the subtle nuances of what happens in and of a play. And it's every season, it's just like a little bit more. Like something that I was thinking of earlier this year, the absolute difference a sound makes from a puck hitting the blocker to a paddle to the pads, right?
Right.
I didn't pick up on that initially. So having that visual to go back of and say, okay, that's what happened. Like there was a crazy play. I think it was this last week with New Mexico where, and it was in hindsight, a ridiculous play that the Ice Wolves almost pulled off where I want to say, I'll not get too tied up in the actual who did it. The player back behind the inline flipped it over the net and it hits off the top of the net and rolls down, and the guy skating by like tries to nudge it with his shoulder, and Blessing was able to get there in time. As that's unwinding, like there's very difficult to see, but of course, Simon did a great job on camera, and it was either Simon or Christina in that game, whoever it was, great job zooming in. We had the replay, and we're like, son of a gun, like that was almost ridiculous. And you wouldn't get that angle too, by the way. You talk about top 5 plays and everything. We get a lot of really good zoomed in angles that you don't see in other cities.
Well, the good news is that we're still looking at more ways to improve what we're doing here, both in the main rink as well as the other rink.
Right. And look, even the broadcast is going to continue to get better because, Sydney's starting to try to work in that Netcam GoPro. I mean, we've had like one game of experimentation with that. We have the ability to put more than one camera out there. It's going to continue to get better. I mean, who knows? Maybe for the playoffs, we'll unveil a second ice level cam, or I don't know, penalty box camera or something.
We have a long list of people that are all too happy to juice up our broadcast for the playoffs. So let's just get to the playoffs.
Nice. Very nice.
Yes.
Shut up and win is the way I like to say it. Shut up and win.
Well, I'll try.
There you go.
Well, and Dustin, we do have some. We're constantly. I feel like there's never really an off day in sports. We have some exciting stuff coming that we haven't even told the fans about yet, Sam. Of course, by the time we publish this episode, we will have told everybody. But March 6th, we're doing another specialty jersey, an unannounced surprise specialty jersey, which I don't have a picture of handy to show, but it is. We're going to be wearing DPD, Dallas Police Department jerseys.
Oh, sweet.
For the officer that was killed last weekend, close family friend of the Trezeras. And what we're going to do is, it's tragic. He leaves behind a pregnant wife and a stepson. And it's really hit everybody. So what we're going to do is we're going to wear DPD jerseys, auction them off after the game, and give that family 100% of the money raised. So
awesome.
That's awesome. And they do look cool. I mean, Sam, you've seen the mock-up, haven't you?
Yeah, they look very much like the Dallas Police Department jerseys, except, bigger and more menacing.
Yes.
Very
yes.
Nice.
And also, how about this, Dustin? And this may be filed under bad ideas that Chad had, of which the file is very large. It's a very large file cabinet of my bad ideas. Hopefully future generations will learn. But I said, you know what, the jersey auction's great, but let's expand on that. Let's put together a staff team to take on the DPD, of which everybody on staff has said, you're effing crazy, but we're doing it. So March 6th, before the Brahmas game, your Brahmas staff, which will rely heavily on Dan Wildfong.
Oh, yeah.
Heavily on Dan Wildfong. In fact, let me give you an example of what the play sheet looks like for the power play and everything. This is our strategy for every situation in that game.
Nice.
Wild
Yeah.
Fong.
It's kind of like an umbrella.
It's look down at your stick. If you're holding the puck and your name is not Dan Wildfong, get it to Dan Wildfong. That's our strategy. Also, goaltending coach Christian Fry is going to play, and he played for Ohio State. He's a legitimate goaltender. So we feel that between those two, the rest of us maybe won't embarrass the organization too bad. But either way, we're going to raise a lot of money for that officer's family, and that's what it's all about. So the 6th will have a different look, and it's going to be awesome. It makes me feel good to raise some money for a good cause. And no word yet if this guy is going to make an appearance on the 6th, Dustin, but your best friend, there he is.
Yeah.
Your best friend.
Yeah.
You know. What's the matter, Dustin? Don't hold back.
Okay. Not a lot of people pick up on it, but it is. I've had to explain to the top brass at Acme Brick that it is a
good. I'm glad the sponsor isn't that upset with me just trashing the mascot at every chance.
Well, because it's all a joke.
Yes, and they think it's very funny. They think it is very funny.
Okay, good.
The director of marketing he was laughing when I was like, now look, on these clips you might see on YouTube, our broadcaster not really positive towards Brick Boy, but there's a reason, because Brick Boys, so it's funny. It's a funny bit for those of you who don't know. Every time that the Acme Brick mascot Brick Boy is out on the ice, Dustin usually talks very disparagingly.
He's a horrible human being.
He's a prick.
It's not a
mascot being. And I mean, like the cheap shots that are taken at kids, mascots have fun, but just the cheating and the shootouts and stuff I've seen over the years, like that's also something I'll take with me when everything's said and done is just the level of indignity that Brick Boy brings onto the broadcast every time a camera is focused in his direction.
Yeah, I thought I saw him charge in the broadcast booth a few games back.
He did. He was blocking my shot on the call. I was like, I'm trying to do a job here, and he's just mugging me, staring me down, like I'm not afraid of him. I mean, if we ever want to get play-by-play versus Brick Boy, I am all for that, man.
I love it. Guys, one of my favorite moments with you, looking back at some of the fun times we've had, and we'll continue to have, the Law Hawk jump from a couple years ago.
So
this is where we were experimenting with something that is generally a failed bit between you and I, which is I'm going to have a microphone on the ice. I'm on the broadcast, but we have no way of talking to each other. There's none of this.
None.
So I'm just out there at center ice waiting for you to do this.
Which is good that that's not on air, because we've had some of those situations and there's about 5 of these before someone's looking, because there's a lot of stuff that happens between the press box and 150 yards of ice.
If you go back on YouTube and you look at that clip, so it's great. It starts, you're describing the play of the previous period and scores from around the league. Bango is driving around on a bicycle on the ice. It's funny. I'm standing there. When you finally do throw it to me, this guy comes up behind me and starts talking in my ear. It's something everybody that has seen that clip, like of my family's like, who is that guy? It's a guy named Steve who plays in the adult league, and he had a question about where to put the ramp, even though we had already gone over it 19 times, and he waited till I actually start talking with the microphone to Cope and be like, hey man, but that was a fun time, and hopefully when Cope, we've really scaled back our in-game experience. Just we don't want a bunch of kids running around on the ice when there's play, just got to be smart. But when we get back to normal things, I want to really ramp up some of our intermission bits and tie them into Hockey TV. Somehow, maybe we'll shoot Brit Boy out of a cannon or something.
I was watching an old Arrested Development episode. If y'all remember the one with the old uncle, and he's shoot me, like you just fire him right at me into the broadcast booth. It'll be perfect.
Oh man. Well, I think that when the playoffs come, it's going to depend on who we end up lined up against. But
Right.
I think if we end up with a series in Wichita Falls, we should tag team a broadcast up there. That would be pretty fun to shoot the wheels off of the K. Yeager Coliseum or whatever it's called.
I've let it be known to, and again, that's another thing I really appreciate with the organization is allowing me, the flexibility to call the home games during the season. There's a couple of them. I think again, no promises, because there's always something crazy that happens. For those who don't know, I don't, like I mentioned on the air, I run an Amazon delivery company. That's the Monday through Friday thing. Well, more like Sunday through Saturday, except for when ice is everywhere. But there's a couple of trips that I've eyed. That last trip of the season, which is to Wichita Falls, which is, just that's nothing as far as the commute and everything. And then there's a big Shreveport series coming up here in a couple of weeks, and I'm planning on attempting to make that trip. My old buddy Chet, which for those who aren't familiar, well, you are familiar with Chet because you're watching him on the broadcast, and I love that guy. His call is phenomenal. He gets excited at all the right times, and when he's here, we're separated a decent degree, but you absolutely can hear him in the background as every call, like everything good thing that's happening for Shreveport, and I'm somewhat subdued. You can hear him in the background, but he's got a great line. He's like, "Top shelf, where the ladies hide the fine wine." He's just got some great ones there. You can hear him. Well, imagine being in Shreveport, because that's the one playoff series I went and worked. And by the way, had like the worst head cold I've had. Like, this is pre-COVID, but had I gone like during COVID, I told him, I'm like, dude, I got COVID. Like, it was just atrocious. So, but literally, like where Andy Panda is right here, like that's Chet. He's literally right beside, like in your lap and everything with the way it's set up. So that's always that was a fun call. And he always just says, "Hey man, if you're coming up, I got to get things set up. Just give me a heads up." So Chet, I think I'm coming here in a couple of weeks to help these boys try and catch up and seal that first place victory in the South Division for the regular season.
Well, we need to go on a bit of a run to steal first place, but the pieces are there. The pieces are there. I think it's very possible. And down in the 3HL, man, those kids, I don't know if you follow them any this season, but they're a juggernaut. It's every game that they seem to play, it's 6-1.
Well, with Oklahoma City too, and just sort of how that organization's come into existence like that, they're not like, that's the other thing too that and I think Coach Wildfong spoke to this when he was on the last episode, is you've got, talent is not diluted. We got one less team in operation. Even though we started a new team, we got one less team in operation than we did a season ago. And so the talent pool is not as diluted as it was. And then you've got like these other leagues who have not necessarily gotten up and running. And so their kids are looking for a place to play. And hey, you can come skate it out in the dirty South. Like, there's a couple of really nice organizations to skate with, including Lone Star, Amarillo, Shreveport. And these other organizations aren't bad either. They're building something, so yeah, it's a tricky division. Look at Wichita Falls. Like, that is a freaking good team. Like, they're not as flashy. They don't have as much of the offensive punch, but where Lone Star is typically that team that grinds you down in the third period, man, freaking Wichita Falls, every third period, they just push back and they don't go away. It's like I said, man, I think people might be sleeping on the South Division this year, and they never sleep on the dirty South and the Knoll.
No, I mean, you don't. If you were to go back and look over the past 20 years of who won the Robertson Cup, and again, that takes some work, which we don't do here on Gloves Off. But thank God, I'm sure you would see it's probably 11 out of the. I mean, it's a lot that teams from the South have won the Robertson Cup, and it wouldn't shock me at all if this year. Aberdeen, I don't even know if they've lost a game yet
They're
this
just
year.
not tested. Aberdeen just hasn't been tested. Just wait till they get punched in the mouth in that first game in the Robertson, round robin. Yeah, they'll wake up real quick. They
will wake up very quick, or we'll send Brick Boy to pee on them or something.
Yeah, what would the league do if towards the end, towards the end of that New Mexico game, like if Brick Boy just comes out on the ice and checks a player, like what would the fallout be?
I think the fallout would be I don't know. I don't know if it's worth exploring, but
I was going to say, I think the fallout would be that someone would have to have a conversation with Dan Wildfong.
I think Mark Frankenfeld, the commissioner, might have a few things to say. There definitely would be some fines levied and perhaps suspensions.
Suspensions.
No more interpretive dances. No more interpretive dances.
Well, look, I mean, he had to do something. Brick Boy had to do something that game because the spirit of figure skating was in the air. Well, Dustin, we got an off weekend here, but then we're going to get back at it as we have the hated Odessa Hackalopes coming to town on March 5th and 6th. And, they are Sam and I watched their last two games. I don't know what's going on there. They seem like they're in a tailspin. And
yeah, that's one that again, and that's Jason Ruff, who calls their games and everything. Like, that guy's a trooper. I mean, it's just year after year, they really struggle, but they're busting their butts out. I remember they came in a couple years ago and they were down to their e-bug and the dude in net faced 80, 90 shots over 2 games, legitimately looked like he got hurt in the second period of one of those games and stayed in for that beating. And I turned to him and was like, dude, if you get a chance to chat with him, just tell him the broadcasters from the Brahmas was just super impressed at your ability to stay out there and just take a beating for your team. And so you don't want to tap dance on anything, anyone's grave early on. But I think Odessa, I think it's maybe 5 straight games against Odessa coming up here. If it's not 9 points those 5 games, I think even Wildfong himself would say that that's disappointing.
We certainly set a goal of 2 points with every game we play, and anything less is it's become unacceptable in Brahma Land.
Optimal.
I
was thinking about that too. I was like, I think I get spoiled on the broadcast, which kind of shined through in that second New Mexico game when I'm sitting there and I'm literally what the hell's wrong? What's going on? We're better than this. What happened? It was going well. And and so there's sometimes after a game where I do just sort of look in the mirror and say, okay, sometimes you need to chill out just a little bit because you're not playing.
Well, or go the opposite direction, like Nick Merrick in Amarillo when he won Homer Call of the Week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that call.
I believe so. Yes. Yes.
Well, it is time. So season 1 coming to a close here. And we posed one question, Dustin, of most of our guests. Right. We didn't do this to Norm. Okay. I don't think we did it to Mike Ducey out of respect for their careers. Yeah, they're in the hairpiece. But I present to you, and fans, this will be the final time we ask this question. Is next season we'll have a new hypothetical. But what is the largest monkey that you, Dustin Copening, could take in a what is it, Sam? Thunderdome style fight?
Yes. 2 walk in, 1 walks out. Thunderdome.
So
biggest monkey.
First off, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
That's what Frank Trezera said.
I am not a hockey player either, because I have been in one fight in my life, if you want to call it that, in 3rd grade. Kids picking on my friends. I pushed him and I said, why don't you pick on someone your own size? And he did. And I quickly realized, this is not the life for me. But I have thought about this. There
Okay.
is a monkey that has given me much annoyance in my life. My middle name is Marcel.
Oh boy.
Named after a dear family friend who I think passed away because of addiction issues of my father, my dad's best friend growing up. So he named it. Of course, as I was entering the middle school years, which no one ever gets picked on in middle school, the hit sitcom Friends was in full wide swing. Like everyone's out there watching Friends.
Oh, Amigos. I've watched that. I know
I've
about
never watched
Amigos.
an episode in my life, by the way, and this is a big reason why. But the monkey on Friends' name was
Marcel.
So if I get every chance to get my hands on that son of a bitch, one of us ain't coming out alive. So yeah, the monkey specifically, that monkey named Marcel from Friends is the only answer. And also subsequently, I think I have at least a 30% chance of winning that fight.
Yeah, you have a pretty good chance because he's an older monkey now, so he's a little bit slower.
Yeah, but man, they're spry. They can jump up and I've got this
Plus,
thing here. I used to have the long hair, not anymore, but just yank on that a little bit.
He's a Hollywood monkey. He might have addiction problems or something else going on.
Oh,
he could.
Yeah, maybe I can just hit him, give him some lewds before the fight, and just get him all woozy. Just come here, Marcel, man. We're gonna hang out, have a good time.
Yeah, and then you punt him across the Thunderdome.
Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
Weren't you in Raiders of the Lost Ark? Is that it? Was it? No offense.
That was his dad. All right, so
his dad.
So
all right,
Sam,
so that's a second intermission. 2 weekends from now.
I love
it. That cage is set up, right?
I'm gonna check with PETA first.
Oh, PETA! Don't fight the monkey, PETA.
So, Sam,
they wouldn't even like us talking about this.
No, they would. Once you say the word monkey, they shut you down with a cease and desist order. Sam, what's the biggest monkey you'd fight? We gotta put the question to rest.
Okay, I think I'd have to take a spider monkey. I think I could do it.
Nolan Ryan style, huh?
I think I can take that's a snow monkey.
That's a snow monkey. That's right.
I'm talking about a spider monkey. It's a little bit smaller. Spider monkey, spider monkey's a little bit smaller. It's lankier. It's more of a tree.
I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey.
Yes. But yeah, the snow monkey is about the same size.
I would probably go. Number one, it's a lose-lose scenario when you fight a monkey. If you beat him up like you guys and you're Marcel and your spider monkey.
Yeah. I'm known as the guy who beat up the monkey from Friends.
Yeah. Your whole life will be hate mail. So I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to take on a young, spry silverback gorilla because I know that there is no walking out of the Thunderdome. The life is over if you beat up a monkey. So I'm going to go ahead and take on the silverback and put on a show for the people and let him take me.
Like Mickey Rourke at the end of The Wrestler.
Yes, we're going to put on a show.
You're climbing up to the top.
And after I've hit that silverback like 15 times and he turns around and realizes that someone is messing with him, he'll just smash me. That'll be the end. Hopefully I go quickly.
I'm glad that we got to the end to the root of this matter because we need to know which monkey gets who. So
yeah. So that's it. And we appreciate your time, of course, Mr. Dustin. We'll see you back here in Brahma Land before you know it. And season 2, Sam, of the Gloves Off show will feature, I don't know, there will be guests, right?
I'm really excited about the GBL on Gloves Off S2. It's going to be good.
I think to let everyone know why we switched to a video cast, I think this is the Inside the Bullpen audio version that we did for years and years and years. It started with me and Nick Merrick was great, but it lacked a little bit of variety. So we've changed it up. It's the pandemic, or as Groobs would say, the pandy, has helped us shift to this Zoom format, and it enables us to have more interesting guests. And I think the format we have, we had the artist, we had Cass Haley on. He did a song. I think we can find another artist for season 2 and some ticket people and some Brahma coaches and player legend. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a gorilla on.
I think that the season 1 be real. I mean, just the stuff that we've cut out that people have not seen. I think I could make an entire supplemental compendium epilogue.
Yes.
And maybe we'll get that out to the people. Yeah.
It should be mentioned that there are 2 lost episodes for Gloves Off, including the highly explosive pilot, which was live on air for maybe an hour or 2 before we were obliged to take that down. And then we had an episode with Andrew Cohen and Mitchell Digby that we did not air in light of maybe we weren't following proper COVID protocols. A small
Wasn't all
room.
Zoom socially distanced?
No, we were basically on top of each other in a closet.
Hey, let's play spin the bottle.
All right, well, I got nothing else. Sam, you got anything?
No.
Hey, thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Go Brahmas.
We're gonna go back to the moon and Mars and stuff, but when we get there, just put a little hockey rink out there. I mean, it's freezing in space, right?
Yeah.
And
no refrigeration
absolutely.
is necessary. No refrigeration. Think about that.
Yeah. I mean, imagine a Mitchell Digby blue line blast just flying off into the nether regions of space, eventually puncturing an alien spacecraft. They track it down. They want revenge. They fly to the moon. They drop off. We get a little tussle, line brawl, Brahmas, aliens. Who doesn't want that?
Do you think a Mitchell Digby blue line blast from the lunar ice rink would still be floating in space when these 3 galaxies combine?
I think it will have circumvented the entire known galaxy. It's that quick. That's what I think.
Well, folks, write in and tell us what you think of a Mitchell Digby blue line blast from the lunar ice rink. And until then, I love you.
Baby arm.
Baby arm.
Great job, everyone. Great job.
Awesome, man.
8! Brilliant!
And take 2. Go.
Anybody cigarette? Ask me for light. And make that death a crime. Speak for a solid expression. You're gonna play it. What are you doing over there? That's a really impressive Kenny Rogers. It is. I know it all.
Of the Lone Star Brahmas media team. I am not Chad Stewart. Instead, I am Graham Burke, and I am the goal. Okay. All right. No, you're chill. Hey.
Okay, I got it, guys. You're the best. You're the best. You're the best.
Thank
that
you,
ever
lads.
was. Love you, mean it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your day.
Barbasol contest. Something about shaving your beard. Okay. It'd be funny. I should shave it and then nick it 1,000 times. So I get like Def Leppard jeans. All right, here we go. Ready? And yeah.
Okay. And take 2. Go.
It is. It's
I know
actually,
it all.